In this video, we will review and share our experience of using the Canon RF 28 to 70 mm f2 USM lens. Hello and welcome to our channel. We had got 3 of Canon's RF lenses, the 28-70 mm that we are going to review in this video. Other than this, we had received the 15-35 mm wide angle lens, also the 35 mm macro lens. In this section, we will share our opinion based on the experience that we had using this particular lens in different categories of photography, upon which we decide the image quality that this particular lens achieves. To start off, let us talk about sharpness. When we talk about the sharpness that this particular lens produces for the images, the sharpness is good, but it is not the best. Lots of other Canon lenses, of course from the L series, are much sharper than this. The sharpness is good for lots of situations. Especially we noticed that the sharpness of this particular lens is quite good for portraits. But if you are into product, landscape or any other genre of photography, this lens is not going to produce the crisp result that you would expect this lens to produce. The colors that we get from this particular lens are quite nice. We notice that the color reproduction of this particular lens is really very accurate, and every time we got good colors which are true to the subject's color as well. We did not notice any color shift with this particular lens. Also, what happened is the situation where we took most of our images, it was cloudy, and due to the overcast conditions we had soft light, and as we know with soft light we don't get really very saturated colors, and that is what you will notice in the images that we are sharing as well. The contrast that this particular lens produces is good, but it is not the best. After using lots of EF lenses for so many years and even the RF lenses in this recent times, we have noticed that this particular lens does not produce as high contrast as other lenses do. Even if the pictures that we took, most of them were in cloudy conditions, and we know in soft light the contrast in general is lower, but still we noticed that this particular lens does not create that high of a contrast in the images. The pictures that we took in direct sunlight or in the artificial controlled lighting, even then we noticed that the contrast was a bit better but not the best, something that we expect from high-end Canon lenses. The distortion that this lens produces is very low, and we noticed that in case of landscape you notice no distortion at all. In case of portraits, if you are shooting from a very close distance, you will notice some distortion though. The distortion can be fixed quite easily in post-processing. At f2, this is quite a fast lens, and lots of photographers will be shooting at the minimum f number. In our experience, what we noticed was when we took different pictures, whether we took macro, whether we took portrait or even landscape, even at f2, the pictures that we get look quite nice. Even for landscape, if you accidentally keep it on the lowest f number, still the pictures look quite decent. The performance of this particular lens in backlighting is very impressive. The images that we took felt really great. This particular lens did not show any signs of ghosting or flare even with heavy backlighting. So we tried lots of street photography, we tried some portraits in controlled lighting, we saw some pictures with sunlight kept in the backlight, and still we noticed an awesome performance when shooting in backlighting. Being a fast lens at f2, this lens is quite big. Even the diameter of 95 mm looks quite big. Because of the high quality glass element it uses, it is also quite heavy. At about 1430 grams, it is slightly less as compared to the EF70 200 mm lens that we have. In comparison, this particular lens looks bigger and also sometimes feels a bit bigger as well. What is good about this lens though is it is quite comfortable to hold and to operate. What we noticed though was, in case if you are using a smaller body, like when we use the RP, the lens looks big and the camera looks small. But if you are using the EOS R, R5 or R6, it looks quite decent and well balanced. What is great about this particular lens though, being a RF lens, it comes with the third adjustment ring which can be customized for changing ISO or any other thing that you would like to configure it for, making it very comfortable to use and operate, and also increases the level of functionality. After using this particular lens extensively for different pictures in different categories, and after seeing the pictures, we felt that Canon is right when they say that this lens is ideal for travel photography, photojournalism and for wedding photography. Because for these genres of photography, we don't really need the outright sharpness from the lens. But what is a very big advantage is the accurate colors that the lens produces, very good low light performance, amazing backlight performance, the low distortion, the fast and quiet autofocusing, the very shallow depth of field and an amazing looking bokeh that it creates. This particular lens is very good for the genres that the company says it is for. This lens features the newly developed RF mount which is specifically made for the Canon's full frame mirrorless cameras. This lens can have a focal length from 28 mm all the way to 70 mm. The lens speed on this one is a constant f2, meaning we can have f2 at 28 mm as well as at 70 mm. The construction of this particular lens comes with 19 glass elements and they are arranged in 13 groups. The glass elements come with advanced lens coatings. This particular lens comes with 9 diaphragm blades which result in a nice rounded aperture throughout the f numbers. The minimum focusing distance, in case if you are into macro or close-up photography, is 0.39 meters. This lens, being a L series lens, it comes with the regular weather sealing. So yes, it is dust proof and moisture proof. This lens does not have optical image stabilization and will rely on the in-body image stabilization of the camera. This lens features ring type USM for autofocusing, which results in quiet and fast autofocusing. Being a fast f2 lens, the diameter of this lens is quite big at 95 mm. Also, this is a heavy lens at 1430 grams. The minimum aperture for this particular lens is f22 and the maximum or the widest aperture is f2. The f2 is constant throughout the zoom range. So we get f2 at 28 mm as well as at 70 mm. This is a high-end lens and it cost about $3,099 US, or in India it cost 2,60,000 Indian rupees. Everything about this particular lens is amazing other than the cost. So, if you feel that paying an upwards of $3,000 or approximately 2,60,000 rupees is okay for you, then definitely this lens makes a great addition to your kit. But if you feel that this asking cost is a bit too high, then you might be looking for some other options.